Welcome to the Boneyard with Steve Robertson. As always, I am your good friend and host, Steve Robertson. Man, it feels so good to win, doesn't it? You expected to hear that from me, but it feels so good to win. It's a great day in Starkville, Mississippi. We'll have Jeff Lebby later today, and I'll get most of the show done before the Levy presser, and you never know. Maybe we'll get it up in time. But reality of it is Bulldogs now 5-4, and you get that first SEC win. It's interesting. We've made 6 trips to Razorback Stadium since 2015. We've won 5 of those. It's true. It was a wild game. We expected it to be a wild game. We hoped and felt that State would win a close one. We did. And it's not just that we won, but it's how we won, because we kind of got over that hump, right? You did it against Arizona State, and you felt like, hey, this team maybe have a different quality about them. We've been so close against Tennessee, Florida, and Texas. We feel like we should have won those games. Well, we do it here. Now, granted, Arkansas, not a great team. They got some talent. Bobby Petrino, obviously a good play caller, but they were also a very undisciplined team. I've seen a lot of gnashing of teeth on social media and backbiting, things of that nature, about the officials being biased against Arkansas. I don't agree with any of that. If you go back and watch the game, you'll see that the penalties were warranted. In fact, there should have been more penalties against Arkansas. When you play reckless, you get called for it. And then when you have a coach that rides the officials, at times it's just human nature to not get the benefit of the doubt. I actually thought there should have been more infractions called against Arkansas. But it all is what it is. But, listen, I got a lot of respect for the Arkansas folks. And one of the things that I admire about Arkansas, they expect to be good at everything. They do. Like, they're not willing to concede that to you. In their minds, in football, they should be on the level of Alabama. In football, they haven't been, right? They've always had some good teams, and at times they've had some great teams, but they've never been quite able to get there. And they always seem to think, hey, we're one hire away from doing something significant in football. In basketball, men's basketball, he won a couple of national championships. Great. Scotty Thurman, Corliss Williamson, those are great teams. And if you talk to Arkansas folks, they feel like, hey, we should be on par with Kentucky. And you look at baseball, they feel like they should be on par with LSU. And so I do admire that about them, about how they have a desire and in many respects an emotional fan commitment to be great. They haven't been, maybe to the measure that they expect, but there is some optimism within that fan base that I wish that we could adopt, truthfully. And, of course, my son lives up there. My daughter-in-law was raised in a Razorback family. I'll have to fight against that with my grandkids, from now on, who I got to see this weekend. But nevertheless, I do admire that about Arkansas. But they're really bad defensively, as you guys saw. They don't really tackle well. Did a good job against the run. We're going to break down the game. We're going to look ahead to the weekend it was, and we'll look ahead a little bit to next week. We'll have a cool top 10 list for you as well. But I'm excited because we're now one win away from bowl eligibility, which I think at the beginning of the year we all thought, man, if we could get to a bowl game this year, that would be great. But it is absolutely ignorant and foolhardy to argue against Jeff Lebby making progress and changing the trajectory of this team. One could easily make the case that State should be 8-1. You could also argue we probably should have lost that game Saturday. But the fact that it boils down to maybe one possession, whereas last year we were chasing the game throughout, again shows that Jeff Lebby and his staff have things moving in the right direction. Let's thank our friends at Bulldog Burger Company, longtime sponsors of this show. We love Bulldog Burger Company. I will partake in some Bulldog Burger Company this week. I don't have any road trips this week, midweek, or weekend. And as a guy that spends a lot of time on the road, I like being home for a while. I do. I do get restless, in the summer months, and I'm eager to kind of get out and go. But one of the things I love about being home is being able to go to Bulldog Burger Company and just put my feet under their table and let them take care of everything else. Get the spring rolls as your appetizer. They'll make you and everybody around you better looking. It's true. And then find your own favorites. If you're a newbie to Bulldog Burger Company, let me recommend the Bulldog itself. You can't go wrong with that. If that's the only hamburger you ever ate the rest of your life, it'd be a good life. It would be. Maybe you're not feeling a burger today. Let me recommend the BLT salad. I prefer it grilled. You may like it fried. No matter how you get it, ranch dressing is usually the way to go. 3 great locations to serve you. University Drive in Stark Vegas, Gloucester Street there in Tupelo, Lake Harbor Drive in the Ridge and Flowood area. Bulldog Burger Company, the place where people go to meet, M-E-A-T. Okay, let's break it down. We didn't win the toss. I think it's been 2 times now we didn't get the ball first in the Libby era. I think that's right. And I thought when it happened, this may be a good thing for us. I said, you know what? In the event, they were able to get a stop here, maybe get out early. Maybe that matters with us kind of getting them off schedule a little bit. Like if we could get a stop and then maybe be up or within a score at the break, you got a chance to kind of dictate terms the rest of the way. That was my thinking at the time. Well, it works out, pretty much as we hope here, right? So Arkansas elects to return the opening kick. Javen Williams and Elijah Cannon, a young man we hadn't talked a lot about, freshman that was redshirted last year, makes a tackle along with Javen Williams, the transfer in from Kennesaw State. So Arkansas sets up shop there at their own 31-yard line. And all this is scripted, right? So they come out, they get it out to Blake, 13 yards and a first down. Then on 1st and 10, Mike Washington, who was good, off the left side for 10. It's a first down already across midfield into plus territory. And then from our 46, Green takes off and goes for 7. However, they're flagged for holding. And you know what? When you go back and look at it, they were holding. Now it's 1st and 20. They're behind the sticks. Washington goes for 8, back to him for 6. Makes it 3rd and 6. Bulldogs get to Taylon Green here. Malik Sela, who had a big ball game for State, and Jerry Bledsoe doing the honors. So you get to stop there. State employed a lot of drop 8. Didn't rush a whole lot. Auburn did a lot of that too. And I think we kind of mimic what they did to kind of make Green be a quarterback and not just be an athlete. But State forces to punt. It ends up being a touchback. So best case scenario, right? You get to stop and a chance to go up first early. And that's exactly what happens here. Bulldogs take over at their 20. And on 1st and 10, Booth up the middle for just 1. Arkansas did a really good job with our running game, and that surprised me. 2nd and 9, we take a shot to Anthony Evans. They credit a breakup here to Caleb Wooden. Arkansas kind of does the Ole Miss thing. Like if anybody is even in the zip code on an incompletion, they credit their guys with the breakup. It's true. 3rd and 9, and they take another shot here. We got Brennan kind of working back to the football. And they flagged the PI there. If they hadn't, I'm sure it would have been registered as a PBU, whether the DB touched it or not. But now it's 1st and 10 at our 36, so a fresh set of downs. We get it out to Aiden Williams, which I believe was a drop, but it's credited as a pass breakup. 2nd and 10, Shapen is flushed off the left side for 2, makes it 3rd and 8. We get it to Brennan Thompson for the first down here. 11 yards on the play. Out near midfield, Shapen then runs ahead for 1. And on 2nd and 9 from midfield, we get it out to Aiden Williams. This time it's stacked up for a loss. So it's 3rd and 10, 3rd and long. Bulldogs get it out to Sadie for 4. And then this is a big moment in the ball game. 4th and 6, we decide to go for it. In plus territory, but you begin to think, hey, this, every game's going to matter. Every possession is going to matter. This is an emotional moment early in this game to kind of set the tone. And we get it out to Fluff. Great job here on the check down. Arkansas has a bust. They lose outside containment, and Fluff is loose for 39 yards down to the Arkansas 8-yard line. 1st and goal now, to Fluff, nothing. 2nd and 8. We try to get it out to Brennan Thompson, and it's incomplete. And it looked like there was just a little miscommunication on the route there. 3rd and 8. We get it out to Booth and makes a man miss in space. Just kind of takes that jab step to the left and outruns the guy to the right. Terrible job there by the Arkansas defense. Just terrible. Terrible. Bulldogs score. And again, I thought it was a great opening drive to basically say we're here to win the game. And this proved to be significant in the end. Our kickoff is away here. And again, Bulldog defense kind of holding up here. A chance to go up 2 scores if we get a stop. Well, we get that stop. Touchback on the kickoff. 1st and 10 from their 25. It's complete out to C.J. Brown for just 4 yards. And again, this is the product of dropping 8. They're having to work underneath. And on 2nd and 6, it looks like we're going to get Green on the ground, and he gets loose and runs for 12 yards for the first down. 1st and 10, similar situation. They're having to check it down. It's just a 1-yard gain. Nick Mitchell on the tackle there. 2nd and 9, they give it to Braylon Russell, who killed us last year, off the left side for just 1 yard. Zachary Tillman, Isaac Smith combine on the stop. And it's 3rd and 8, and then Nick Mitchell comes through again. We drop 8. We finally get home here. Nick Mitchell on the sack makes it 4th and 16. Great punt, though. 54 yards is the difference, and State takes over at the 11. So you got to put together a lengthy drive to at least go get a field goal. And you felt like, again, this is a golden opportunity for State to take early control of this ball game. And on 1st and 10, we give it to Fluff, and there's nowhere to go. We run off right side here. There is nowhere to go. Give Arkansas a lot of credit for kind of flooding to that side and setting an edge. It's a loss of 2 yards. On 2nd and 12, we take a shot to Sadu, a little bit long here. And I thought Blake early on was missing a little bit long. 3rd and 12, we take another shot here. It's incomplete to Anthony Evans, and he will tell you that you should have had it. I don't know. Competitive play, broken up by Jordan Young, maybe. On 4th and 12, we're flagged for false start. That backs it up a little bit. And then Ethan Pulliam comes up. Big punt here. 52 yards into the Arkansas air from the State 4-yard line. So Arkansas takes over at their 44. They probably feel good about the trade of possessions there. Arkansas puts together a good drive here. Again, a lot of drop 8. Green takes off and gets 2. 2nd and 8. Similar scenario, no gain here. And on 3rd and 8, a chance for us to get off the field. Just like the first drive, we nearly get home, and then Green just kind of slips out of there and gets 16 yards. 1st and 10, they give it to Washington for 9. Back to him. No gain on 2nd and 1. Big Jamil Burrows making a stop there. Brennan Jennings. We hadn't heard as much about Brennan this year, but makes a play there. On 3rd and 1, Rohan Jones, big player for them too. I mean, really is. Really, really physical player. They work in that H-back spot. They get it to him for 5 yards, and that moves the sticks. And that's the final play of the first quarter. So, again, the quarter ends. Bulldogs up 7-0, but Arkansas on the move. Second quarter begins with the ball at State's 24-yard line. Taylor Green gets it out to Raylan Sharp. Big-time play. We're out of bounds there at the 1-yard line. 1st and goal at the 1. Taylor Green tries to run it in here, and they fumble but get back on it. Loss of 2 yards on the play. And on 2nd and 3, they get it to Rohan Jones here for the touchdown. And there's a lot of people on this basically a shovel pass here. They're kind of complaining about that. Just part of the deal. Extra point is good. The game is tied. Now, again, State gets the ball back here. Now, our third possession, I give Arkansas a lot of credit for kind of eating up some clock and limiting our possessions. And it kind of worked in their favor here, too. 1st and 10 from our 25. We get it out to Anthony Evans. And he actually fumbles it, and Sadu jumps on it. If you remember, this is one of those plays where it looked like Evans was going to really get loose for a big game, 20 yards on the play. Now it's 1st and 10 at our 45. And then Fluff up the middle for a 1-yard loss. 2nd and 11. Fluff gets 5. And at the time, I think that was our longest gain of the first half on the ground. 3rd and 6. We take a shot to Anthony Evans. And again, they're credited with the pass breakup. And maybe that was correct. I don't know. But 4th and 6 now. Bring in Nathan Tice, who hadn't punted as much here as of late, but he did a good job here. 51 yards on the punt, unfortunately gets into the end zone. But, special teams has been okay. And it's clear that Pulliam is going to be like the big leg, right? And then when you need a directional punt, maybe you go with Tice. So here we are. Arkansas takes over at their 20. Washington at the middle for 2. And on 2nd and 8, they get it out to Raylan Sharp, who's a good player. 14 yards on the play. Browell Lanier on the stop. Makes it 1st and 10 from the Arkansas 36. Incomplete to Omega Blake. No PBU credited there. I mean, just a trend. 2nd and 10. Washington at the middle for 1. Makes it 3rd and 9. They get it out to Blake for 5 yards. And on 4th and 4, they decide to go for it. Again, chance for us to get off the field. This is a statement-type play. He gets about 4.5. And again, Washington is a real load there. Isaac Smith and Tyler Lockhart credited on the tackle. 1st and 10 from their 46. Big play here. They find some open area out there in the middle of the field, and Cam Shanks catches it. Kelly Jones rolls over and delivers a big shot to the back there. They had to come get him. 1st and 10. It's incomplete. Out to Blake again. No PBU. Trevion Williams credited on the hurry. And on 2nd and 10, Mike Washington off the right side for 4. Makes it a 3rd and medium at 3rd and 6. They get it to Mike Washington, but it's just 1 yard. Stayed in cloud coverage there. You come up and make the play. Kelly Jones, Zachary Tillman forced the field goal attempt from 42 yards. It's good, and Arkansas has the lead. This is a drive State needed to answer. We didn't, but we needed to. All right, 1st and 10 from our 25. Booth loses 2. On 2nd and 12, Blake Shapen gets loose and runs for 15 yards, dives ahead for the 1st down. Great play by Blake. 1st and 10. We get it out to Cam Ball. 9 yards on the play. Kind of a rare reception for Cam. Ball got loose there. They really was down. 2nd one, Booth runs right for a 3-yard loss. They're just doing a great job, kind of just basically trading places with our offensive line. Like they're just changing where the line of scrimmage is. Makes it 3rd and 4. We get it out to Thompson. You know they wanted to credit a PBU here, but they weren't able to. 1st and 10 from their 36. We take a shot here, and it's incomplete to Brennan Thompson. Probably should have made this play. He was open. 2nd and 10, fluff up the middle for 2. Makes it 3rd and 8. We go back, and we get 6 yards here. We lose 6 yards, pardon me. And so that changes the complexity of things. You're not going to take the field goal there. Nathan Tice comes in, 37 yards, and just has it check up there inside the 5. State downs it at the 3, and you think, well, this, Steve, I mean, come on. Trading possessions here would be great for us. Well, that's not what happened. Arkansas puts together one of their best drives of the day. 1st and 10 from their 3. Russell off the left side for 5. And on 2nd and 5, Green gets loose and runs for 13. 1st and 10 from their 21. It's complete to Platt. 15 more yards. And now they're already out on the move, right? I mean, you figure worst case scenario, we've got a couple 1st downs. We can flip the field here. 1st and 10 from their 36. They get it out to Jordan Platt for 7. 2-minute timeout is called here. And then Green, I was just thinking, we can't give up anything here. We really can't afford to give up anything. But at worst case, we got to hold for a field goal. All right, 2nd and 3. Green gets it out to Sharp for just the 2 yards. And on 3rd and 1, Green takes off the run. Zachary Tillman stops him flat. They decide to go for it on 4th and 1 from their 45. And they move the sticks. The chance for us to get off the field there, we really needed to. 1st and 10. It's complete to Mike Washington, who rumbles 14 yards to the State 40. And you're thinking, okay, maybe we can force a long field goal. Maybe we kind of keep them off the board here. They take a shot here. It's incomplete. And again, no PBU credited. 2nd 10, Taylor Green off the left side for 9. They flag him for holding. So now it's back to midfield. And right here, with 24 seconds to play, I'm thinking, okay, maybe we'll navigate this without even giving up any points. 2nd and 20, it's incomplete to Mike Washington. Brandon Jennings in there with a hand in his face. And on 3rd and 20, we have a lapse here. And Raylan Sharp gets loose for 38 yards down to the State 12. This gives them 2 opportunities here. They try to get it into the end zone, and there's hand fighting on both sides here. And Kelly Jones with the PBU. This was a legitimate PBU. And I also think that Sharp was actually out of bounds anyway. Field goal attempt is good, and that's your half. And we hadn't played exceptionally well in that 2nd quarter. But you look up and you think, okay, we're within a score at the break, on the road. We've been here before. Maybe we've learned a little bit something. Maybe we have. Your second half recap brought to you by closewithblair.com. Blair Chandler, my friend, your friend, our collective friend in the mortgage industry. Blair's a guy that gets things done. 601-500-2344. 601-500-2344. 20 plus years in the mortgage industry. Nobody stays in that industry that long by accident. Blair can get you to the closing table when so many others can't. I encourage you to check him out today. If you're looking to refinance or perhaps buy a home, whether you're looking for your first home, your next home, or your retirement home, Blair Chandler is the only name to know. A Bulldog through and through. Season ticket holder here in multiple sports. You're going to enjoy your time with Blair, because of the fact that Blair knows how to navigate the labyrinth that is underwriting to give you the best chance for approval. Get that pre-qualification letter. You'll be glad you did. Get your real estate agent to jump into hyperdrive to get you into your new home. In time for the holidays, too. Yeah, because Blair works quickly. Again, that's closewithblair.com. All right, so we look at our second half here. And, of course, it kind of works out the way we expect, right? We didn't get the ball first. I like having the ball first coming out of the half. That's just me. You know, I've always maybe been a little more defensive-minded. But this, again, kind of works the script for us. Like we talked about, get the stop early, kind of get them off schedule, and then get the ball first coming out of the half. So in that respect, we kind of managed that pretty well. Kick off the touchback. State begins first and 10, they're 25. We take a shot here to Anthony Evans. It's incomplete. However, there is roughing the passer, and there was roughing the passer. It's so interesting that many Arkansas fans say this wasn't roughing the passer, but they want basically a routine tackle on the final offensive play of the game to be called roughing the passer. That's a call of emotion. That's not a call of education. Now, first and 10 from the State 40. Camario Taylor has to come in and play quarterback here because they buzz down. So they have all this concussion protocol nowadays. And if you get certain readings, based on the severity of the hit to the head, you're going to have to clear concussion protocol. That's what happened here. So Blake is pulled. Camario takes over. Off the left side for 7. Makes it 2nd and 3. Camario up the middle for 6 to move the sticks. 1st and 10 now at the Arkansas 47. We give the fluff. He gets 2. And on 2nd and 8, Camario back, lays it up. Anthony Evans runs under it. 45 yards, touchdown. And they review to make sure that he actually got in. I couldn't tell for sure, but either way, it was going to be 6 or 1st and goal at the 1-foot line. The extra point is no good. However, Arkansas is about 20 yards offsides here. So, second opportunity is good. State now with a 14-13 lead, 1 possession into the second half. Arkansas comes right back to answer. Washington off the left side for 13. Back to him for 6. Now it's 2nd and 4 already at the 44. Washington with 8 yards. Now 1st and 10 across midfield. Washington for 3. So all of a sudden, I mean, you kind of see they're like, hey, we're going to dictate terms to them. We're not going to sit back. We're not going to sit back and just try to pick apart and play air raid offense against this drop 8. We're going to go out here and be the more physical team. 30 yards for Washington on those first 4 carries of the second half. 2nd and 7, it's incomplete down the right side. Darian Gillette with a quarterback hurry. 3rd and 7, again, it gets flushed here, right? Taylor Green goes for 18, and then we're holding in the secondary, and they tack that on too. So now it's 1st and 10 at our 17. Wait, penalties, what? Yeah, 1st and 10 from our 17. Taylor Green off the left side for 10. And Arkansas's flag for illegal formation. Maybe we should conduct congressional inquiries. But the flag flies on the snap here. Now it's 1st and 15. Russell off the left side for just 3. 2nd and 12. We're thinking maybe we can hold for a field goal here. 2nd and 12. They get it out to C.J. Brown for 11 yards. Makes it 3rd and 1. And then Taylor Green on the zone read keeps and just kind of coast into the end zone for the touchdown. Grabbed his hamstring once he got in the end zone. We've heard all week that he was banged up I didn't have any negative feelings about his ability to run the football game. So, maybe say prayer of thanksgiving for anti-inflammatories. But extra point is good. And now you look up and it's like, okay, now it's a real ball game, 20-14. We got to find a way to get some stops here. We put together, again, this is Camario's second drive here. I thought he was a little bit amped here. I think the first time you throw him out there, he didn't even have time to think about it. He just goes and plays. But now you spend all this time. Blake is in the tent kind of being attended to. We run the end around play here for Anthony Evans, and he gets 16 yards. 1st and 10 now at the State 41. We throw it out to Seydu. It's high. 2nd and 10, Camario rushes off the right side for 6. Makes it a 3rd and 4. Camario gets loose again for 11. And on 1st and 10 from their 42, we throw high to Seydu. And it should have been picked, but it wasn't. Caleb Wooden credited with the pass break up there. Good thing for us it wasn't a pick. But 2nd and 10, Fluff up the middle for 3. On 3rd and 7, nothing for Fluff. And so 4th and 7, we decided to go for it. Kind of a no man's land here. We go for it. I didn't think we made the right read here. It appeared that we had a receiver open on the corner route for the first down. Who knows? Seydu may, as big and physical as he is, may have been able to take that and run. I think it was maybe 5 yards. And the ball is high. So not a bad read, but probably not the best read. And it's a turnover on downs. And again, Camario missed high a little bit on a couple of those throws. And that's what happens. It's just like being the shortstop and the game speeds you up a little bit. You let the ball go a little bit higher than you should. The release point is off a little bit. And this is when it felt like things were getting away from us. The turnover on downs, and they give it to Raylan Sharp, who runs on the end around for 41 yards. Into the State red zone, ball just inside the 20 there. And then Mike Washington off the right side for 20. And it just kind of felt like this thing was slipping away from us. So this is when they go for 2. And this is the shovel pass I was kind of mentioning earlier. It's a bang-bang play. Isaac Smith is in there almost immediately. But it's a well-executed play by Arkansas. When you have a running quarterback and you're going to run a lot of misdirection, a lot of eye candy and things like that, you're going to get your quarterback hit. That's what happens here. And they cried about this and cried about this. Isaac Smith gets up. C.J. Brown is flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct. Guys, I got no problem with this. None whatsoever. I got no problem at all with C.J. Brown defending his teammate. Even if it is a legal play, and it was, I got no problem with that. So he gets up and he shoves. Isaac kind of gives a shove back, but it kind of gets a little bit elevated. So it's going to be a 15-yard penalty. We're going to take it on the kickoff. In addition to that, Bobby Petrino, who said that Taylor Green was souffled. I think he meant souplayed, like the suplex, right? It's so interesting. And the belly-to-belly suplex. But so they're flagged. In addition to that, Bobby's wrong, and I got no problem with him sticking up for his team. When you're trying to get a job, I get it. But both of those penalties are absolutely legitimate. Both of them. Period. You're like, well, over 200 yards of penalties. Well, there's 25 right here. Because, and I get it, you're trying to protect your guy. It's a bang-bang play, man. There was nothing malicious about what Isaac Smith did. But nevertheless, they get to kick off, I think, from the 10. Yeah, from the 10. Crazy. Kickoff is 67 yards. We get a 17-yard return, so we're already set up shop at the 40. And they hit us out of bounds, so tack on 15 more. So we talk about handling the emotions of the moment. Arkansas not doing that here. That's 3 straight penalties, and all of them legitimate. So again, we talk about, man, it's a school record number of penalties. Guys, here's one scenario where there's 45 yards of penalties. Or 30, I guess 40 yards of penalties, because they couldn't go. It was 15, and then the unsportsmanlike, it was only 10 because they could only go half the distance to the goal. I mean, come on, guys. Really? This is what we're complaining about? He's clearly out of bounds. Clearly. So now the State automatically in good position here. That's just nuts, man. The things that people will cry about are never ending. All right, 1st and 10 from the Arkansas 45. Fluff off the right side for 10. And on 1st and 10, Camario up the middle. And again, here we go, right? Camario is being tackled and is hit head on. And it was a big lick. And they all got up and celebrated. And you know what? Hey, great. And it was targeting. It's targeting. So he gets ejected. They didn't like it. But when they showed the replay, I think most Arkansas fans were like, yep, it's targeting. And it was. Now it's 1st and 10 at the Arkansas 15. Try to get it out to Anthony Evans, and we do. But it's one of those little jet sweep things where we just kind of, bump it forward. 5-yard loss. And on 2nd and 15, Camario drops back to pass. He's got people open but didn't see him because the pass rush was just all around him. He tucks it and goes 20 yards for the score. The extra point is good. Now it's a 28-21 ball game. So, again, you want to see basically a test class, or a test case, pardon me, and how not to manage emotions. This is it. This last little sequence here. Arkansas feeling it, trying to win a game, and their emotions get the better of them. And so not only do you get flagged from all this, you give State the short field and give State a chance to climb back in it. And again, managing our emotions is that's the most important part of the human experience. You got to have some impulse control. All right, kickoff's a touchback, 1st and 10 from their 25. Mike Washington off the right side for just 5. 2nd 5, it's incomplete to Raywin Sharp. And the, what? Arkansas flagged again. You had an offensive lineman about 6 yards down the field. That's an eligible receiver downfield. State elects to take the play and declines the penalty. You're welcome, Razorbacks. And on 3rd and 5, what do you know? They convert. 1st and 10. Mike Washington at the middle for nothing. Fumbles, they get it back. 2nd and 10. I thought the spot was bad here, too. He gets hit at the line. The ball falls. He recovers. See, again, Arkansas. Come on. Incomplete to Cam Shanks. Broken up by Hunter Washington. I'm just happy we can get credited for that. 3rd and 10. They basically throw it up for grabs here. And Isaac Smith will tell you he should have picked it. Hunter Washington should have picked it too. Hunter Washington had nothing but green grass and glory in front of him. Would have been a pick 6. Isaac Smith had this ball picked too. We don't come down with it. We force the punt. Kind of works out to be okay for us, right? So the punt's 43 yards. Anthony Evans gets a couple yards. And then there's a face mask penalty on Cam Shanks. So it moves from the 22 to the 37. Are we going to argue about that one too? I guess we shall. And again, we're not managing our emotions. We bring Shapen back in. And at the time I said, this is a mistake. Let's ride the hot hand. And even though, listen, the emotions carry the moment, I get back in hindsight and I think about, Camario was a little bit amped up. You bring Shapen in. The pass to Evans a little bit high, but he's got to make that catch. He wasn't ridiculous. But anyway, it's off his hands and intercepted by Jordan Young, and it felt like, okay, here it is. Here's the decisive moment in this ballgame. Arkansas takes over at our 41. Russell up the middle for 6, back to him for 7. That moves the sticks. And on 1st and 10, Russell carries it for the 3rd straight time, gets 3. 2nd and 7 from the State 25. They get it out to Raywin Sharp again. Down to the State 9, and it's fumbled. It's going to be a touchback. However, we're flagged for holding. Yeah. If we're going to cry about penalties, why don't we cry about this one? It's true. Gives Arkansas new life. Now it's 1st and 10 at our 15. That runs out the quarter. So we open up the 4th quarter with Arkansas on the move. In a wild 4th quarter here. Wild. All right, 2nd and 10 from our 15. Green up the middle for 9, makes it 3rd and 1. They give it back to Russell, and why not? Big physical back, gets 4 yards. Now it's 1st and goal at the state 2. Russell in for the touchdown. Extra point is good. It feels there's going to be joy in Fayetteville as it's 35-21 in the 4th quarter. They were feeling great. I was not. 1st and 10 from our 25. And just so you guys know, Mississippi State scores every possession the rest of the way. 1st and 10 from our 25. We give it to Fluff for 1. 2nd and 9. We're incomplete to Brennan. And again, another PBU. And maybe there was. 3rd and 9. Shaping complete to Brennan Thompson. 1st down. 1st and 10 now at 36. Fluff off the right side for 2. And on 2nd and 8, Shaping is complete to Brennan Thompson for 7. Makes it 3rd and 1. I didn't like the spot, but I'm not going to cry about it. 3rd and 1. Shaping runs off the right side for 3 to move the sticks. Makes it 1st and 10. Shaping sacked. This is that high snap. We get back on it. Yep. We had 2 of these. 2 high snaps. Shaping got absolutely blindsided on this play. Jimothy Lewis jumps on it, thank goodness. But now it's 2nd and 20. We get it out across the middle to Anthony Evans, and what a absolute rope from Blake Shaping here. In addition, they hit him late. It's roughing the passer. You watch the play, it's roughing the passer. 1st and 10 now at the Arkansas 14. It's incomplete to Evans, and it's a PI. Now, I thought this penalty should have just been called holding. I didn't think it should have been PI because Blake throws the ball away here. There was a lot of traffic. There was a lot of contact. But no matter what you call it, there's an infraction. I just think they called it PI. It should have been holding in the secondary, which would have changed the distance, right? Instead of it being 1st and goal at the 2, it would have been, half the distance to the goal at the Arkansas 7. Maybe that matters. Maybe it doesn't. But, yeah, I mean, there's no denying there was traffic. But you're wanting the officials to say the ball was uncatchable to bail you out because you're not as athletic in the secondary as you thought you were. 1st and goal now at the 2. Boot ahead for 2 to end the touchdown. Extra point is good. And now it's 35-28. And you just need to get a stop, right? You need to get a stop and a score. And he got a chance. Well, that didn't happen here. Not exactly the way we wanted. We did get some benefit from this. Great drive by the defense here. Mike Washington off the right side for 14 and holding. And it was. And I've seen some people talk about this. Let me tell you this, okay? If you are blocking in the game of football and you keep your hands inside, you're not going to be called for holding. Unless you grab the pads and the jersey and they try to pull away from you. But if you're just driving somebody, you're not going to be called for holding. When you put your hands outside, if you're you're dancing with the bear, and you turn them, they're going to flag you for holding. They are. That's the rules of football. You can't hold. And sometimes holding is a lack of athleticism. So the play comes back. It's 1st and 13. It wasn't a killer, but it was still a big penalty. They get it out to Cam Shanks for 7 yards. Makes it 2nd and 6. Mike Washington, again, I thought he was really good. Washington at the middle for 3. Makes it 3rd and 3. They get it out to Rohan Jones. I think he may be an NFL guy, to be honest with you. I think there's roles for guys like him. It's broken up by Jalen Smith. And now it's 4th and 3, and they punt. Not a great one either. 39 yards. State will set up shop now at the State 29. If you're Arkansas, you wanted that thing deeper. You absolutely did. You wanted to bury that thing in the red zone. 1st and 10. Booth, we finally kind of get some running stuff going here a little bit. All right, so Booth off the right side for 11. Then, again, we're not managing our emotions. It's 1st and 10 from the 40. Booth is absolutely enveloped in the backfield and driven back and driven back and driven back and driven back. And then Quincy Rhodes grabs him and slings him to the ground. You're going to get that call 100 times out of 100 instances. There's no question about it. It was the right call. It was the proper call. And when you think about the complexity of this ball game and how Arkansas had not managed their emotions and the referees are trying to get control of a ball game, you are giving them the opportunity. So again, an undisciplined play. So rather than it being 2nd and 15, it's now 1st and 10 at midfield. And that's a gift from Arkansas. And you didn't play disciplined football, period. Shape it off the right side for 3, 2nd and 7. We get it out to Thompson, who nearly scored here. And good tackle by Caleb Wooden to prevent that. But 27 yards to the Arkansas 20. And the Bulldogs are kind of starting to feel it here. 1st and 10, we're incomplete to Evans. 2nd and 10, we're complete to Seydoux, but just 3 yards on the play. Brings it 3rd and 7. Trevor Mayberry flagged for a false start. And he did. Makes it 3rd and 12. And then Shapen enveloped here. And this is, again, the high snap where if Blake doesn't if Blake's 3 inches taller, it doesn't matter. But he's not. We get this swallowed up here. And then Kyle Ferry misses initially. And they flag him for running into the kicker. And again, if you go look at it, it absolutely was running into the kicker. I mean, it's like there's no debate about this. So if you remove your emotions from your observation, you say, yeah, it's running into the kicker. So it gives them a second chance, and this time from 46, it's good. Don't play undisciplined football. You don't have to go count penalties. So now it's a 35-31 game. And so now you start thinking, okay, it's 5 minutes to go in this game. Chances of this is not going to be a scenario here where there's going to be a tie in overtime. So Arkansas has the ball and the lead at home with just over 5 minutes to play. And so you start thinking, hey, if you're Arkansas, you're thinking, hey, we go down and put this ball in the end zone, this thing is over. Our losing streak is over. We're going to make a coaching change anyway, but you know what? We got something to feel good about. And give them credit for turning out for the ball game. They were into it. They were. It wasn't a capacity crowd, but the folks that were in attendance, I thought, created a good atmosphere. And shout out to the Bulldog fans that were over there in that little sliver in the corner over there. But your Bulldog defense steps up here late when we absolutely had to have them. You always have to have it, but man, what a big possession here to give the offense a chance. 1st and 10 from their 25. They give it to Mike Washington, and why not? Right? You ought to feel like you can move the sticks, but also in addition to that too, you're eating up clock. 2nd and 3, Taylor Green off the right side for 13, and guess what? Arkansas's flag for holding. And it was holding. By the definitions of the rules of football, it's holding. It wasn't a manufactured call, wasn't biased. It was holding. So now you're behind the sticks, and it was an obvious call right in front of the official. 2nd and 10. I didn't like the spot, to be honest with you. I thought the spot was off. Because if anything, they gave you a gift in that respect. They try to get it out to Blake. Nick Mitchell forcing a little bit of a errant pass there. Makes 3rd and 10. Taylor Green complete to Mike Washington. State is in cloud. And Nevaeh Sanders, great job here. And it's just a 1 yard gain. Makes it 4th and 9. And 43-yard punt. Anthony Evans fair catches it at 31. So again, a chance for State to go win the football game here. So the same opportunity Arkansas had to put this thing away, Mississippi State has the same opportunity to take the lead. And I thought we managed this pretty well. We talked about that last week, about how we didn't always manage stuff really well in late game scenarios. We did this time. So we're learning. We're getting better. All right, 1st and 10 from the State 31. Booth, 1 yard gain off the right side. Makes it 2nd and 9. We get it out to Seydoux for just 2 yards. So clock's running, tick, tick, tick. 3rd and 7. We're incomplete to Anthony Evans. Now it's 4th and 7. 2 minutes and 13 seconds to go, and I'm sure everybody up there thinking, this is it. We take a shot to Brennan Thompson, getting one-on-one situation outside the numbers. It's basically a back shoulder throw. Brennan works back to it and makes a sliding catch. There was no question about the catch. He absolutely made it. They didn't even review it. That takes us down to the 2-minute warning. And the Bulldogs now at the Arkansas 34. you start thinking about this aspect. How much time do you want to leave on the clock? You want to give yourself a chance to score, but you also don't want to leave too much time for them to get a game-time field goal. So you got to manage the clock, and we do here. Blake Shapen up the middle for 8. 2nd and 2. We give it to Fluff, 3 yards on the first down. 1st and 10, State snaps it with 1:29 here. Shapen again for 1 yard. 2nd and 9 here at the Arkansas 22. Shapen off the left side for 4. We take a timeout inside the red zone at the 18-yard line with 57 seconds to go. So on 3rd and 5, we basically run the same concept that we won on here. And I thought we kind of forced it a little bit. The fact that they called this a pass breakup is just criminal mischief, man. This is crazy. All right, so we try to ram it in there to Aiden Williams, and the throw is low. It's low. And Aiden will probably tell you he should have had it. Blake will tell you he should have made a better throw. But anyway, Connie Walker credited on the pass breakup. Man, oh my, it's ridiculous, man. You can't believe anything these days. All right, 4th and 5 now from the 18, and it's a play that will stand for a long time. Again, basically the same concept as the 3rd and 5 play, because you're running Evans out there to the flat. Now, he makes the catch right at the sticks, and you wonder, like, if he's able to make the tackle there, I think you probably get the first down either way. But it's Anthony Evans versus the world here. Right? So he slips the first tackle, runs and spins through the second one, and then lowers his head and powers into the end zone. It's a wonder they didn't give a pass breakup on that play. But 18 yards for the touchdown, and man, that little section of Bulldog fans absolutely exploded over there. It was difficult for us to keep it together in the booth, but we did. Extra point is good, and I don't know if, Kyle Ferry is a guy that always, buries the kickoff. I wonder if we weren't, we wanted him to return it, maybe. Because it's 62 yards to the Arkansas 3. They call for a fair catch. But there's not much time left in this game, and you'd love for him to burn a little bit of this right on the kickoff, right? It's provided that you can make a play. I mean, you don't want to give a big return. I just kind of wonder what we called it. I'm not going to ask that. It's not significant enough, but I'm just curious about that. All right, 1st and 10 from the Arkansas 25. 43 seconds to go. And Coleman Hutzler turned the Dogs loose here. You talk about playing winning defense, we did here. We didn't play Peter Sermonitis, bend but don't break. We said, you know what, we're fixing to end this game with our boots on. 1st and 10, they get it out to Mike Washington for 3 yards. And I'm like, this is great. This is great. This is great. Just throw it underneath. We'll give you that all day. 2nd and 7. They end up calling timeout. Then Taylor Green is sacked. Man, Malik Sealer, you talk about a guy that just dips his shoulder and gets underneath. Man, he absolutely engulfed Taylor Green here. Oh, my gosh. It was such a great play. And then you start thinking, this is it, man. We got him. We got him. We got to finish. They take the timeout here. Now it's 3rd and 13. And we're getting pressure in his face again. And it's incomplete. They take a shot there. It's not there. And on 4th and 13, Taylor Green rolls right. There's nothing there. There's nothing there because of the state pass rush. He has had to retreat so much. He's basically back by the goal line. And then Nevaeh Sanders just takes off like shot out of a cannon. And he's faster than Taylor Green. And he goes and he forces the pass. He's trying to throw it and give Taylor Green as a competitor. He's just trying to make a play. And these people saying, well, he grabbed him by the throat. Number one, he did not. Number two, it would be legal if he did. I know it hurts your feelings, but you're wrong. Football is a physical game. Not to mention, if you go back and look at the close-up, it's on his breastplate. It's on his shoulder pads. I hope that Taylor Green is healthy. I do. He laid there for a while, and then you go back and look at the replay. Like he hit his head pretty hard going down. And then he throws the ball kind of awkwardly, right? And you wonder, too, like when a guy's running like that and there's limbs and force involved, I mean, is there's a possibility of an AC separation? So we hope that he's healthy. I have a lot of respect for Taylor Green, incredible player. But there was no penalty on Mississippi State. There was a penalty on Green. Ball didn't reach the line of scrimmage. It's intentional grounding. Turnover on down. State takes over at the 3, and we just take the knee. And it's so interesting. Like my son, even when we're over the ball, about to kneel down, he's like, I still don't feel safe. I still don't feel safe. But your Bulldogs win. Yeah, win number 5 of the year. Again, now 1 win away from bowl eligibility. Let's take a look at the numbers here. And it's an interesting box score in many respects. You start looking at the team numbers and that kind of stuff. We talk about making one more play. Arkansas had 25 first downs, State 26. 26. But 7 of ours came by way of penalty. It's true. That part's true. They ran for 239. We ran for $106. That's probably not a recipe for winning. However, we were 282 in passing, 194 for them. Total offense, Arkansas gets 433, State 388. They run 77 plays. We run 71. 18 penalties for 193 yards against Arkansas. And really none of these really up for debate. Really not. Now, they could argue that, should have had this, should have had that. You go back and watch of them with an unbiased eye, you'll see that's correct. Punting was a factor in the game because, you had to do it. Both teams had to do it to kind of flip the field. Arkansas with 5 punts, average 44. State 46.7. 2 of them 50-plus yards, and then that one inside the 20 was outstanding. Tyson did a great job there. Return game, not of consequence. Arkansas had the ball 34 minutes, State 25. They were 7 of 16 on third down. We were 6 of 14. They were 2 of 3 on fourth down. We were 3 of 4. Red zone, 5 for 5 for them, 5 for 6 for us. And, we had 3 sacks. They had 2. We got after them, too. We did. Look at some individual numbers here. Just happy to win, man. Taylor Green, 19 of 31 for 194 yards and 1 touchdown and was sacked 3 times. Blake Shapen, 16 of 28, 242, 2 touchdowns to 1 pick, sacked twice. Camario, 2 for 5 for 40 with the 1 touchdown. And again, I go back to, I thought on all of these incompletions that he made the right read or made a good read and just threw the ball a little bit high. That, what I'm saying? That's the mental aspect of the game, right? The game wasn't moving too fast for him. I think he just kind of sped himself up a little bit. But again, seeing the field is job one. Camario Taylor, your leading rusher with 55 yards. Blake Shapen had 16 yards. Fluff with 12 for 25. Didn't expect that. Anthony Evans with 16. Anthony Evans, 5 catches for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. Brennan Thompson, 6 for 107. And, of course, the first person to celebrate with Anthony was Brennan. Fluff Bothfell, 1 for 39, of course, that big fourth down play. And Seydoux, 3 for 9. I really thought Seydoux would have more of an opportunity in this ball game. But, hey, we won. Doesn't matter. Defensively, Isaac Smith with 11 tackles. Nick Mitchell with 10. Nick also with a sack for 8 yards. Brylan Lanier with 7. Zachary Tillman with 7. Hunter Washington with 7, some of his most extensive action as of late. Darian Gillette with 6. Kelly Jones with 5, and also the pass breakup. Jerron Manning, a little bit banged up in the ball game. Haven't heard anything of significance with him. We'll ask today. Probably not get much. Malik Sela with 3 tackles, and, of course, the big sack. But, a lot of Bulldogs. Just a total team win, right? I mean, there's not a hero in this ball game. There's a couple plays you're going to remember for a long time, but there wasn't a real hero. It was just Bulldogs being Bulldogs and getting the dub for you guys. All right, time for today's top. Let's try that again. Time for today's top 10 list. As always, brought to you by KalidoGuitars.com. That's Calido. Kalido, right? Rhymes with Lido. I'm not going to sing it, but you know it. Kalido Guitars, based out of Lake Jackson, Texas. Man, they're our friends, man, and they've been there when we've needed them. This is your guitar shop, and it's your stringed instrument shop. I don't know exactly what your musical interests are, but if you enjoy playing and picking a little bit, you need to know Kalido Guitars. Now, the cool thing about it is you can go to the website and you can look at the great selections they have. They've got everything from the beginner's guitar, where you don't have to break the bank to get a quality instrument for Christmas, You got intermediate guitars. You got professional grade guitars. You even got those Joe Sat originals, those Steve Vai originals. I absolutely love mine. I do. I love it. I don't get to play as much as I want to this time of year because I've been so busy, but and also a little bit under the weather. But I love being able to plug in and play. I know you guys do too. Even if you don't play for anybody else, you kind of owe it to yourself. You've always thought, I want to learn to play the guitar. I want to get better. Commit that to yourself. I was playing about 30 minutes a day, and then, things happen, get in the way. But I miss it when I don't play. I feel like I owe it to myself to just kind of plug in and play. It's a great stress reliever, kind of gets your mind off other things, even if you're not a great player. I mean, just, how it goes when you finally pick out that part. You're like, dude, I can do it. I can, and you can too. And Caluto Guitars can be your partner in your improvement. Whether you're looking for acoustic guitars, classical guitars, or electric guitars, or all of the trimmings, whether it be gig bags, cases, strings, cables, anything you need to be a better guitar player, you can find at Caluto Guitars other than the time. You'll have to make that. They can provide everything else. Visit CalutoGuitars.com. They're going to give you a promo code to kind of serve you, and you're going to get a lot of stuff from that. You're going to get a 10% discount right out of the gate just by using promo code BSR. You're going to get no shipping. You're going to get no sales tax unless you live in the state of Texas, and you understand, right? And then they're going to make a 5% donation to the Bulldog Excellence Fund on your behalf. Yeah. You're going to make that purchase. They're going to take 5% off that. They're going to cut a check to Mississippi State. Yeah, great incentive to do business with them. For sure. Be sure and check them out today, CalutoGuitars.com. Okay, we got to hustle up because I'm going to get over to Levy, and then we'll come back and finish the show, and I'll let you guys know what Coach had to say. We need one more game, one more win to be bowl eligible. Now, that's the minimum standard, okay? Let's just go ahead and accept that for what it is. Our goal is not to just get a bowl game. That should just kind of come with the territory, but we haven't been in a couple years. So that's the next goal, right, is to get bowl eligible and then hopefully play for some postseason positioning. But now you have 5 wins and 3 games remaining, so you need to at least get one of those to have the opportunity to play into the postseason. So that's our theme today. One more to get bowl eligible. So here are your top 10 songs with one more in the title. I did not include Baby Hit Me One More Time. I didn't, even though I think Anthony Vincent's version of the Britney Spears classic is phenomenal in the style of Ozzy. Be sure and check it out if you don't know it. You'll be amazed at how good it is, truly. But we all remember Britney when, she was starting out. It's true. It's a little bit weird these days. Wish her the best. But here we go, top 10 songs with one more in the title. Number 10, it's Nickelback. That's right. I'm not ashamed to say it. You've rocked out to Nickelback too, but some of these people on social media have made you kind of feel ashamed of that. You shouldn't be. Nickelback rocks. And we're going with Just One More from Nickelback. It's your number 10 song. I had to work this in, even though it's not a rock song, because everybody knows it. It's everywhere. It's Daft Punk's One More Time. Not really fitting our regular motif, but it fits our topic today. Number 8, it's Maroon 5. I like those guys. It's so funny. The more popular people get, the more haters they have. That's what social media brings. Love and hatred. It's true. But One More Night from Maroon 5, number 8. Number 7, B.J. Cummings will be happy about this. It's the Pet Shop. No, it's not the Pet Shop Boys. It's Grateful Dead. One More Saturday Night. That fits perfectly with what we're trying to accomplish here. I'd like more Saturday night games. We spend a lot of money on those lights. You got to play better. You got to be more meaningful games to get in those primetime spots. But to be honest with you, I like nighttime football in August and September, and then daytime football in October, November, mainly in November. It's just a little bit easier on everybody. But I like games of importance, and I would look forward to playing one more Saturday night. We'll of course get the road trip to Missouri, our last road game of the year. Till the ball game. Yep, I said it. We're going to speak it into existence. Number 6 is Kid Rock's One More Song. That's a deep cut on the First Kiss album. I love that song, First Kiss. Man, it reminds me of being home, man, back Columbia, Mississippi. It does. Great, great song. I may listen to that on the way to town. But Kid Rock's One More Song, number 6 on your list. Number 5, one of my favorite bands of this era. It's 10 Years, based out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Love those guys, man. Met them several times. Jesse, an incredible singer. And we're going to go back to Feeding the Wolves, which is my favorite 10 Years album. If you don't know 10 Years, you're honestly only doing it to yourself. 10 years, that's 10 years. Those guys are great. Great. And I think Feeding the Wolves is their best album, even though I like a lot of them. But off that album, it's One More Day. One More Day from 10 Years. Number 4, a little bit of a deep cut here from one of our favorite bands. If you had deep cuts back in the 70s, especially with a great band like Lynyrd Skynyrd, it's One More Time from Lynyrd Skynyrd. Not to be confused with the Daft Punk song. But off Street Survivors, I think it's track number 3. One More Time. And if you're ever down in South Mississippi, rolling down 55, you owe it to yourself to take the turn at Gillsburg and go see the memorial. Number 3, another classic rock band. It's Rolling Stones. It's One More Shot. I like this one a lot too. You know, it's probably a song that hasn't been thrown around as much. But if you like the Stones, you'll dig this one. Number 2, a little bit of a somber song. And they sang this the day that Chris Cornell passed away. And it's Linkin Park's One More Light. It is one of those songs, to me, that always stirs up emotion. Like the lyrics are just incredible. Very powerful song. And it talks about, you know, who cares if these things happen? Well, I do, right? And then the whole thing about in the kitchen, you got one more chair than you need. Man, that gets next to me. It does. But it's a beautiful song of remembrance. And it's not going to in any way match with number 1. I don't know that we've had Anthrax number 1 before, other than the fact maybe on our collaborations list, and certainly on the Anthrax top 10 list you did. But this is one of my favorites. John Bush was the singer of the band at this time. The Sound of White Noise. I dig it a lot, and it's Room for One More. There's always room for one more, and it absolutely rocks. And I cannot wait to see Anthrax next September out in San Antonio with the homie Roy Samonti. We're going to go see that. And I don't know, listen, you don't know how long these bands are going to tour. You know, Charlie Benanti, of course, the legendary drummer from Anthrax, married Carla Harvey, formerly of the Butcher Babies, currently the lead singer of The Violent Hour, and absolutely beautiful. There are not many women walking the face of the earth more beautiful than Carla Harvey. It goes to show you this rock star stuff will pay off. It's good work if you can get it. But she's a rock star in her own right, too. An incredible performer. Had a chance to see them at Rocklahoma a couple years ago. Thanks, Mark. But can't wait to go see Iron Maiden, Megadeth, and Anthrax. I'm sure I will bore you guys to death over the course of the next 10 months preparing for that show. Ani wants to go see Bad Omens and Beartooth and President. And so we may work that in too. We'll just have to see. I got to do all my stuff in the midweek. I can't. My life revolves around the Mississippi State athletic schedule, so I got to make sure I take care of all that stuff too. But it's nice to be able to get out and go do some cool stuff. I encourage you to do the same. If you have ideas for the top 10 list, reach out and let us know. The best way to do that is to hit us up on X. You can find Roy at Dogmatic67, DAWGMATIC 67. And you can find our great list on Spotify under that same handle. I'm on all forms of social media at Scout Steve R. Some of you do message me on Facebook about stuff. I don't answer a lot of questions about Mississippi State on Facebook by DM, so you can kind of save yourself a little time and trouble there. But also, too, you go join Gene's page, I'll answer whatever you want. And that's what we do for a living, you know. But nevertheless, you can find me over there and follow me on Facebook. I can't add any more friends, but nevertheless, happy to correspond and interact with you. And again, Roy and I are going to take the big guys trip. Looking forward to that. And you need to make some plans for your friends and your family yourself. And with that, we're going to go ahead and close out this portion of the show, and we'll head to the Jeff Levy Presser. We'll come back and we'll talk about anything that's breaking from that respect. We'll look back at the weekend that was. And we'll have a couple more comments, and we'll talk a little bit about Nick Bell before we get out of here. All right, it's next segment of the show brought to you by Campus Bookmart, a Starkvillian institution. Man, we love Campus Bookmart, and why?
Well, they have the things we want. Yeah, we can never get enough Mississippi State merch. Mom, don't overthink it. There's just no point in it. It's shopping made easy. Just get more Mississippi State stuff. Simple. And who can provide that for you? Campus Bookmark. They've always been there for us. Always. Neatly positioned on the backside of campus. When you're coming in on 182, just take a turn there at the Trooper Station. Work yourself around there, and on the left-hand side, just before Campus Bookmark. Go by and see their smiling faces if you can't make it to town, or perhaps game day is a difficult shopping day for you. Visit them on the World Wide Web, campusbookmark.net. We'll give you a promo code BSR. That stands for Beautiful Steve Robertson. That gets you free shipping on all orders over $75. Any order less than $75, absolutely incomplete. And again, those diploma frames allow me to push those on you because it's a very timeless and thoughtful gift that the Mississippi State graduate in your life will cherish for a lifetime. All right, let's jump into the weekend. It was just 6 games in the SEC, and all very interesting. All of these games, with one exception, but for the most part, interesting games. We had the Georgia-Florida game. Of course, that's of interest because Mississippi State will play Georgia. The game initially boiled down to one play. I mean, you say, well, it's never just one play. So DJ Lagway is flushed on like 3rd and 4, throws it down the field. It looks like Sturdivant has his hands under it as he works back to the ball. They roll it incomplete. They review it. Not enough evidence to overturn it. I think it was complete. I do. I think it was complete. But they get the call on the field. I think if it had been ruled complete, that would have stood too. Georgia wins 24-20. But at a price. Coach Kirby Smart said in postgame, Georgia got kind of beat up in the game, had a defensive lineman, linebacker, and a safety. All have rather serious injuries. I'm about to transcribe Kirby's Monday presser once I get done with all of our content for today. So we'll have an update for you on Wednesday as we do our preview of Georgia. But good game for Gunnar Stockton. 20 of 29, 223 yards, a couple touchdowns. And Gunnar is a running quarterback. I don't know that he's on the same level of Taylon Green, even though Taylon wasn't quite 100%. You wouldn't know it. Taylon had a good game against us, at least rushing the football. But we got our work cut out for us, for sure. Georgia now 7-1 overall, 5-1 in the SEC. I love where this game is positioned, but more on that later. Ole Miss takes care of business. An interesting game for a while. 10-7 after 1. Ole Miss gets a touchdown to make it a 2-score game before the break. It looks like South Carolina is going to make it a game in the second half. It's just 20-14 heading to the fourth. And it's all Rebels in the fourth quarter. Sellers, not a great game. 16 of 30 for 180 yards and a touchdown. Lacey for Ole Miss, 24 carries, 167 yards and 1 touchdown. Nobody's really talking about him. He's having a big year. So the Rebels now 8-1, 5-1 in the SEC. And again, that win over Oklahoma, pretty significant because of the fact, like LSU was dropped out of the poll. I don't know what the FBS poll is going to look like. But I don't know if there's anybody in the league that has a more favorable schedule down the stretch than Ole Miss. They get the Citadel this week. That's a dub. Then you get Florida and Oxford for Senior Day, and then you travel to Mississippi State. So the only winning team left on your schedule is Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl, who's 5-4. So Ole Miss really in a great position here. Citadel's 4-5. Florida, it just hasn't been a good year for those guys. They're 3-5. So you begin to think if you're Ole Miss, it's all right there in front of you. Very favorable schedule for the Rebels this year. Can they take advantage? It'll be interesting to see how Florida plays them. Florida can run football. Florida might get them. Texas gives up the backdoor cover to Vanderbilt. It looked like this game was completely over. I mean, it did. Texas comes out, jumps on them 17-0. It's 24-10 at the break, and then 34-10 after the third. I'm thinking Texas is going to cruise on through here. We picked games earlier in the week, but there were some people, obviously, that got in at 3.5 Texas. Didn't work out as well. for anybody that got in less. But Vanderbilt, 21-0 in the fourth quarter. Pavia, great game for him. 27 of 38, 365 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then Texas just kind of methodically goes about their business. 7-2 now, 4-1 in the SEC. And there's a lot in front of Texas. A lot. You got to wonder, can we get 5 teams in a playoff? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we can. Texas, they're going to have to really earn it. Unlike Ole Miss, their schedule actually gets probably the heart of their schedule in many respects. They got to go to Georgia in 2 weeks. Their open date this week, they got to go to Georgia. Then they get Arkansas at home and then A&M at home. So 2 top 5 teams in your final 3 games with a first-time starter in Arch Manning. We'll see. You guys are well aware of what happened with Mississippi State and Arkansas. Then Kentucky knocks off Auburn. The one thing that absolutely could not happen, and now Hugh Freeze has paid for it with his job, and you got to start thinking about this Auburn team too. Now, again, we've been expecting this. It just felt like it was a matter of time. They go to Vanderbilt. That's going to be tough because this Auburn offense is not built to score. Then you get Mercer. That should be a dub. And then you host the Iron Bowl. So Auburn needs 2 of 3 to be bowl eligible. But you kind of begin to ask yourself now, like, where does Auburn rank in the jobs that are open right now? I think we can all agree that the SEC jobs that are open, at least, the top 3, LSU, Florida, and Auburn, are the 3 best jobs available at this point. Maryland comes open today. That's not a big job. Penn State has been open the longest, and what a terrible year for Penn State to be, kind of a, quote, blue blood national brand, and then all of a sudden you're competing with all these SEC teams and all this SEC money, all these SEC resources, and if you've never seen the Auburn indoor facility, you can't really understand the facilities they have there and the infrastructure that's been put in place for them to win. And so I think LSU is the best job available. I think we would all agree with that. Florida, from a resource standpoint, absolutely second best available. And then I think there's Auburn. Now, the one thing that Auburn has that I think Florida doesn't have is Auburn has real community. And Auburn has, for the most part, good culture among the fans. Of course, there's some donors that have a level of toxicity between them, and they've meddled in the past. So that's always kind of tainted the Auburn job. There was some discussion. Venables was ready to take that job and backed out because he was kind of getting 2 versions of the same story from 2 different people. But, Kentucky I don't think is going to come open this year. I think that's smart. Obviously, they have a huge buyout. But there's the possibility that we have 8 first-year coaches in the league next year. You're thinking, what's he talking about? Well, all right, you already know there's 4 jobs open in the league, right? LSU, Florida, Auburn, Arkansas. Those jobs are already open. That's 4. So where are the other 4 coming from? Well, if Lane Kiffin leaves Ole Miss, and there's a lot of opinions that suggest he may, well, then Ole Miss comes open. That gives you 5. Let's say Eli Drinkwitz gets Florida. That's 6. Clark Lee mentioned as a candidate for Penn State. What if he takes that job? Vandy's his alma mater. You know how much matters to him. But let's say Clark takes that job. Well, now you got 7. And then there's a lot of discussion about James Franklin at Virginia Tech. He has a duty to mitigate, but I don't know that he's going to take a job like that. I know they had him in recently. But there's also some discussion that Shane Beamer is kind of a rising candidate in the minds of many in Blacksburg. Probably got to have Franklin tell you no before you turn to Beamer. But let's say Beamer again ends up in Blacksburg. Well, then South Carolina's open. Yeah, so that gives you 8 of 16 teams that have a first-year coach next year. And of course, that's kind of a worst-case scenario, I guess, if you're the SEC. I don't know that there's 8 coaches out there that are worthy of an SEC job. So somebody is going to overpay. I think the team that I think is impacted the most by all of this is Arkansas. Arkansas gets out first in the league. They fire Sam Pittman. And then all of a sudden, jobs within our league that are better, that have better resources, that have better tradition, have opened up. Nobody that is going to consider LSU, Auburn, or Florida is going to say, yeah, I'm just going to go to Arkansas. And listen, Fayetteville's great. Wasn't always like that. Northwest Arkansas is great. It's one of the fastest rising communities in the country. Incredible real estate. Great resources. Good jobs there. They've come a long way. A lot of it's got to do with Walmart and J.B. Hunt and Tyson Chicken, all that kind of stuff. And those are all people that are majority donors to Arkansas. But Arkansas is not going to get a coach better than those other schools. It's just not. And what I'm hearing is that Arkansas will ultimately get a sitting G5 guy. That's where you begin to kind of do the math. Is that Silverfield at Memphis? Is that Golish at South Florida? I think Arkansas fans are going to be disappointed when it's all said and done. And that's not to say they won't hire a good coach. They may end up getting a coach and don't win the press conference, but win a lot of games. There's not as much pressure to win as Arkansas. You go 8-4, 9-3 there, you can stay forever. But the reality of it is I think we're going to see, in some respects, the league may take a bit of a step back. And as I've cautioned on this show for weeks now, this is the absolute worst possible year for State to have to make a coaching change. Just because of the fact, number one, we need stability. But number two, I just think kind of like Arkansas, we would be one of those jobs that was left getting a G5 coach or a coordinator. I don't think we're going to get a marquee coach. You're not going to get the equivalent of Brian O'Connor to come coach football at Mississippi State in a year like this, if that makes sense to you. And so with Jeff Lebby winning the game, now you're 5-4 with 3 to play, and I still am confident we'll get at least one more. You need Jeff Lebby to make it, and I think it's safe to say at this point there is zero chance that we make a change now. But the reality of it is that we don't need to worry so much about what's happening with the rest of the league except how it impacts us. With all of these first-year coaches, as we know, we've had a bunch of first-year coaches in recent years. They don't have their players. It takes a while to implement their scheme and install their culture. To potentially have close to or at half of our contemporaries within the league having to go through that, I think it gives us a chance to kind of get a leg up, and then there's going to be a lot of players in the portal, and there's going to be less stability at other places. I think it's a chance for State to really make some headway. That's why it was so important for us to win that game. Not just because we needed to win the game because we played the game, not just because our players needed to win the game to feel good about the work they're putting in, to get some return on their emotional, physical investment into this program. But I think it positions us well in the years ahead to have some stability with Jeff Lebby. And listen, again, the goal is not to just make a Tennessee bowl game. This year, that was one of the big goals. But ultimately, the goal is to playoff. And in order for us to do that, we've got to continue to upgrade our talent, continue to upgrade our staff, and we're going to have the opportunity to do both here in the weeks ahead. All right, final segment of the show brought to you by the Stark Vegas Clubhouse, the best place to stay in the Golden Triangle when you're bringing a large group to town, and you should. You've always talked about it. How cool would that be just to get everybody together and spend a few nights together? Well, you can do that at the Stark Vegas Clubhouse. Might be a great place to spend Christmas. Have you considered that? Might be a good place to spend Thanksgiving. Maybe your home can no longer support the sleeping arrangements of a growing family. Hey, when we had 3 or 4 kids, it was plenty, but now, we got, a pack of grandkids. It's tough to have everybody one place to sleep. And so maybe you think about that. Maybe you build a Holloway trip around the Stark Vegas Clubhouse because it's about spending time together. We'd love for you to be here in Starkville spending time. But the reality of it is that there's ball game weekends. There's midweek trips up here. There's so many opportunities. It's open 365 days a year. It's not just a weekend retreat. So Google the Stark Vegas Clubhouse. When you do, their Facebook page will pop up for you, and you can peruse through all of the Pictures of all the amenities available to you and your guest. You get the full-service kitchen, the wet bar, the back porch area, the fire pit area, tons of parking, plenty of parking out there. It's the old renovated clubhouse, the old country club out past the Highlands. You don't have to worry about everybody having somewhere to park. No worries with all that stuff. Just 5 minutes away from the Mississippi State campus, you can do your tailgating right there. How conveniently located, but also a lot of peace and quiet. It really kind of butts up on the backside of campus anyway. So it's really quiet. We stayed there, had a blast. You should too. When you Google, some booking options are going to pop up: Airbnb, VRBO. But if you want to save some money, book through the Evolve website. Use promo code BSR10. Beautiful Steve Robertson, the number 10, BSR10. That gets you 10% off your stay. So just by listening to this show, you're getting a discount to stay at the premium place to stay in the Golden Triangle, the Stark Vegas Clubhouse. Okay, back from Levy. And not a lot of news. You know, we asked about Jerron Manning. We have to. We know what he's going to say. They're going to let the availability report kind of speak for itself. But the reality of it is we're in pretty good shape considering this time of year, but we need Jerron Manning to be healthy. Albert Reese, of course, we love Albert. Albert obviously is the best offensive lineman on this team. We've had to play a couple of games without him. And you've noticed, right? When you want to talk about how valuable people are to you, well, play without them and see how you perform, right? Nothing against our other guys. I thought Timothy Lewis did some good things. Good to kind of see him get back out there and compete. Yeah. So, but when Albert's out there, it's just kind of the glue that holds that offense together because you can run off right tackle. You know, Albert's a guy that's a little bit stiff at times, but man, he is so physical. He's such a huge presence on the field. So we don't know where he stands. We hope that he's available to play. And I can tell you this, knowing Albert Reese, he's going to want to play. Albert wants to get in the bowl game. Albert wants to prolong his Bulldog career. Albert is a guy that wants to help this team win. He wants to be one of those guys that we look back and say, you know what? That 2025 team kind of righted the ship for us, and Albert Reese is on that team, right? So there's a legacy piece of it too. So that's kind of where we stand. You can read Jeff Levy's Q&A or watch the video for free over at genespage.com. We make that free. All the big room stuff is free. And all the videos from postgame at Arkansas are available for free at genespage.com. All the videos from today's presser are available for free at genespage.com. We put that out there for you for free because, number one, we go, right? It's our responsibility. It's our job to go. But also, too, we're not going to put that stuff behind a paywall. Just not going to do that. It's because of the fact, more times than not, we're the only ones that have it, or among the only ones that have it. And we want to make sure that you have access to know what's going on with your coaches and your team. So we make that stuff free. And again, all of our game day coverage is free as well. So when you're looking for articles from players after the game is over, and we do a couple the next morning, but we want to be your one-stop shop for Mississippi State sporting coverage. Okay. Yesterday was the 15-year anniversary of the passing of Nick Bell. And many of you don't know who Nick Bell was, and that's a shame, and that's why we have a platform like this so we can kind of educate you. But Nick Bell was a high school player that we signed. I guess it was Jess Lanier High School back then. It became Bessemer City. But Nick was a guy that we liked a lot, and he didn't have a ton of stuff going on, but he just kind of fit Mississippi State. Dave Turner and those guys really liked him, and it's one of those things, too. There's some guys that maybe you like a little better than others, but there's some guys, too, that just simply fit your program. And that was the case with Nick Bell. Nick fit us. And I guess he had, a lot of opportunities at the G5 levels, what we call it nowadays. But we kind of took a chance on Nick, just kind of thinking, you know what? We're going out, we're going to get a guy that matters to us. We're going to go out and get a guy that exemplifies the values of Mississippi State. And that was really the case with Nick. And unfortunately, Nick got ill, and they weren't sure what it was. Eventually they found out that he has kind of a rare form of brain cancer. And it's difficult to talk about even now, but even 15 years later. But Nick was just kind of rising, kind of coming into his own, and really kind of showing the potential that we expected him to have. We really thought that he would be a guy that would contribute to Mississippi State football on and off the field. And I think that's one of those things that you look back in hindsight, which makes it even more, disappointing, is that Nick was just kind of starting to get going. He was really just trying to kind of figure this thing out. And in the prime of his life, he finds out that he's got cancer. And we lost Nick. And I remember getting the phone call from his mentor, and he called me and just said, "Hey, Nick's gone." And that's never a story that we want to break. And so reached out to Mississippi State, made sure they were aware of it, and of course they confirmed with family. And we had the celebration of Nick's life at Davis Wade Stadium, and his mom Linda was there, and we had a moment of silence. And I can tell you, there wasn't a dry eye in the place, because we were all pulling for Nick. And it really united us as a fan base too. Granted, it helped that we were winning some ball games, but in many respects, we all saw our own children in Nick, and we began to think about Linda Bell and think about, how difficult this must be. You have a son, he achieves, he becomes an SEC football player. He's just beginning to get a spot on the two deep and beginning to participate, and you get this diagnosis, and it was disappointing for all of us. And I remember it's one of those moments at Davis Wade Stadium that I'll never forget. We had the moment of silence, and it was tough. And then all of a sudden you hear one cowbell, and it was Miss Linda ringing the bell for Nick. And then we all rang our bells for Nick. And I'll never forget that. And I suspect no one who was there will forget how special that moment meant to all of us. And so I try to remember every year, and sometimes I forget, but I try to remember each year to share Nick, and found a picture of him from Fan Day last year, or his last year that he was here, and shared that yesterday, and heard from the Bell family too, and thanked me for doing that. But the reality of it is Nick is part of our family too. Their loss is immeasurable. We're just grateful to have shared the path with him for a little while. We're grateful that he was one of ours. And he'll always be one of ours. And I think on November 2nd every year, it's one of those things that we should do. And I remember Trevor Steigers goes out and gets a 36 tattoo. And for a while, all you could ever see around Mississippi State parking lots was the Nick Bell 36 cowbell. And I even had somebody yesterday post in the comments and said, "That's the one sticker on my bell I just can't replace." And I feel that too. I truly do. And so, Nick, we love you. And Miss Linda and the whole family, we have not forgotten, nor hopefully we will never forget. But Nick is very special to us. And, for a lot of young people too, it was difficult. It was a difficult disruption to the greatest times of their lives. And, for those of you that have forgotten this, when we beat Michigan in the Gator Bowl, Chris Relf wore number 36 for his friend and teammate, Nick Bell. And he went on to win the Most Valuable Player award in that absolute obliteration of Michigan. So may we never forget. Before we get out of here, let's remind everybody, if you hadn't done so, go to dutynoblebook.com. Christmas is coming up. You got about 7 weeks. If you want to get personalized copies of books, you can. You can order them through dutynoblebook.com. That's all the sports titles are all on sale there. That's Flim Flam, Alpha Dogs, Stark Villains, Dogpile. Every Bulldog needs a copy of Dogpile. When the Bottom Falls, a personal memoir. And, of course, The Dude, which did exceptionally well and still selling. But all of that, it still means so much to me to be able to have written that book. And I'm going to be at Maroon & Company Friday. From 4 to 6 before the Bulldog Classic, the alumni game, so you can stop by and see me at Maroon & Company this Friday, 4 to 6. A week from today, I will be with the Secret Society of Statesmen at the 120 Club. For those of you that are members, if you're not a member, reach out to them. Maybe perhaps you can join. But I'll be speaking a week from today, Monday, November the 10th. On Wednesday, November 12th, we'll remind you as we get a little bit closer, I'll be in Meridian at the Bulldog Shop in downtown from 11 to 1. So any things you need. I got a couple more dates coming up in December too. So, but here we are. So again, this Friday, Maroon & Company, on your way to alumni game, stop by and you can get some signed and personalized copies of the book. Come float with us at True Rest Float Spa of Starkville. I ran the spa last week. I've got a new respect for the bride. Having to do that and then come home and do all my Jeans Page stuff, it reminded me of when I had a day job in addition to all this stuff. But glad to have her home, number one, because I love her and I like her and I want her here. But also, too, it's tough working 2 jobs. And I got a lot of respect for her for the job that she does. It's just so much to do up there to make sure that place stays spick and span for all of you. If you got chronic pain or anxiety, we may be able to help you. We've helped many others. Call 662-268-7601. You can speak directly to my lovely wife, Dana, and she'll answer any questions you may have, and we'll get you lined up and get you floating. And come join us over at jeanspage.com. Until next time, let's all live our lives in a way we make more friends than enemies, and people can see a difference in the way we live.